What is up, everybody? Dan and the Fireman here. Today, we're going to be going over the medical analysis of a motorcycle crash. So we're going to be talking about injuries. We're going to be talking about all these different things. And right away, we got demonetized. So thank you so much to the DDFM crew for making this possible. Click that join button. You'll find out all the cool perks that you get. It's $2 a month. But let's jump into this. And just real quick, right away, let's go ahead and throw out some possible factors so we can focus on the medical stuff. And we have sun in the eyes, so we can't see very well, so low visibility. Possible ego type thing, trying to keep up with other riders. Unsure, maybe just an inexperienced rider going above their skill level with these other riders. There's all these different things. Loss of traction, applied the brakes, all those things. All we know for 100% fact is they went off the road. And that's what we're going to focus on, is what happened after that. Okay, here comes the turn coming up. So it's a blind turn. We don't know the speed. Going a little bit too wide. So the guy in front went wide. But if you also notice real quick, and we're not going to stay on this, is that the rider that is following well behind almost went off too. That's called target fixation. You look where you want to go, and he's looking at the dirt pile right there and probably going that direction. But this is very dangerous for anybody else in the group, is that if there was oncoming traffic, boom, got hit. Now we have two patients, possibly one super severe compared to the one on down the cliff. We don't know yet. Good job on these people to not follow, but be very aware of that. Could have been bad. Now, once again, the original video is linked in the description, and we're going to be focusing on the medical side of this. So, very good U-turn. Practice your U-turns, guys. All right. So, real quick, when we do any type of scene survey as medical professionals, is that we show up on scene and we're like, okay, well, how did this guy get off the cliff? And we start to see this skid mark go right across. Now, that's going to help us out determine if speed could be a factor for mechanism of injury. So with speed, the higher velocity and the higher speed you go, I notice we got some physics students here telling me that I'm wrong. But basically, when you are moving, the more movement you have, the more speed you have, and you hit an object, quite possibly more injury to the body, especially without gear. So make sure you wear full gear just in case something like this happens. It might save your life. It might not, depending on the severity of the mechanism. But we do a scene survey. We try to recreate the scene using cause and effect, the root cause analysis system and everything. And it's called a scene survey, scene size up. That's for those of you that want to get into EMS. I've had some comments saying they want to get into EMS, and this is a good way. Now, if you take a look at the drop-off, that is a fatal fall if you drop off like right here straight down. Now, with the momentum, with the speed this rider is doing, more than likely that is the height of the fall. That's a fatal fall. You're going to have very serious injuries. You're going to have a lot of broken bones, a lot of everything if you are unlucky. He's pretty lucky here. So I think they can hear him, and that's going to be very good when it comes to knowing that the airway is at least open and there is breaths being taken. We don't know the circulatory system. We don't know if he's bleeding out yet or if his airway breathing is compromised, and this just now he's able to do this. But that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
This way?
Look how steep that is.
I think so, yeah.
Just a quick mental thought. Imagine if you're out here riding by yourself and it's at dusk and you fly off and nobody saw it. Exposure kills people.
Yeah, bro! Holy shit, that's busted.
Also, another thought experiment. If you feel like you don't need gear, I dare you to run and try to jump as far as you possibly can down this canyon, because that is going to be way less than what happened here. If you don't even want to do that, try running and then trip yourself on the street. You still don't need gear? You guys need gear.
Hey, grab your phone!
Real quick, another aspect of this, and as EMS, we go through the whole process of, is it safe for us to do something? Really find your best possible way down this hill, because the last thing you want to do is get injured yourself and now have to be rescued. Remember, you don't want to add to the emergency scene. You want to be a helper of it. So try your absolute best not to get injured. Find the best possible path to get down. If you do get injured, just be aware. Now you're causing more problems. Okay, this is a pretty bad spot to be in. I mean, you really want to have somebody in the anatomical position, you know, basically on their back in this situation with their palms out. That's the best possible position you could be in, and it keeps all the veins, arteries, muscles, tendons, bones in line and where they're supposed to be. That's why it's called the anatomical position, among other things. But right here, when you see this, it could be constricting on the lungs, the diaphragm. It could have some issues underneath. We don't know if he was impaled on this log. So they're saying, let's not move him. Let's move the bike. That's another option. But right now, let's do a quick assessment, rapid assessment of any type of life-threatening injuries, airway, breathing, circulation. Typically, circulation goes first inside of a trauma like this. You don't want to be bleeding out, whether that's bleeding out of your veins into your abdomen, which is still internal bleeding, or bleeding out externally of your body. Either way, the blood is supposed to stay inside the veins and arteries. They're not supposed to go anywhere else. So when you get cut, it's not like your body's free floating with blood. It's because you cut capillaries, veins, mini arterioles, all these different things. So the main thing here is to really focus on what is life-threatening, and that is circulation, airway, breathing.
We're gonna move your bag, okay? Just sit still, okay? Yeah.
So he's moving. Moving very good. I would be a little bit worried about the rotor touching his neck. I don't care about the helmet melting. Turn off the bike, move to the patient.
Right behind you.
Fuck. His head's like right on the
His head is right on the side.
His head's like resting right on the side.
Yeah, it's straight mud.
Hey, I got this, bro.
This shoe is gone, man.
Just turn it off.
There you go. Turn the whole thing. There you go.
It's gone.
I got this, yo.
Hey, Jordan, can you hold this?
Down in there.
Okay, so now we have everybody kind of, we know what we can take care of. We took care of the bike, now what? And you don't want to be in that position. You don't want to be in that position as somebody wanting to help but not knowing how to help. And this is why, as a firefighter, I have this experience, but I wanted to share that with you guys. And I really recommend you guys going to accidentscene.org, taking in the online class. You get $5 off with code DDFM, and you're going to get a lot of good information, just like you're getting information here, but you're going to get way more over there. And I recommend taking an actual class in person.
You good, bro?
Yeah. What hurts?
See, the whole padding, it's like what hurts. We're starting to do an assessment, but we're doing what we know, and that's perfectly fine.
You hold my body just so I can breathe.
Yeah.
So claustrophobia, that's another issue with other motorcycle riders with full face. Modular helmets help out with that. 3/4 helmets help out with that. But obviously you get less protection. This is perfectly fine. If he wants to have more airflow, lift the visor, don't take the helmet off. I keep saying that, guys. He's breathing, has an airway. You don't need to take the helmet off. You have cervical spine problems if you mess it up. This is why you need to have training.
Hold still. Is that better? You guys, hold on. Be easy with the bike. Be easy.
We have to move him.
We have to move him first.
We have to move him. We have to move him.
Don't.
You don't have to. You don't have to move them. You don't have to move nothing. If they're breathing, conscious, alert, everything. This is why you need to start going down the alert, verbal, painful, and unresponsive. This is where you ask, who's the president of the United States? This is where you ask, do you know what happened? This is where you ask, what are you laying on right now? This is where you start asking those other questions, because that's the most important part. Moving him just to move him is not the most important part. Comfort is not the most important part. Life-threatening, life-altering injuries are the most important part. Comfort comes after that.
No,
We can't move him.
His head's fine.
Somebody call already? Somebody on the phone?
My sister's calling.
Okay.
So this guy right here with the jeans, let's scroll back a little bit with the orange shirt. I believe this person is a driver of a car. The sister's calling. Very good. So the information you want to talk to with dispatch, to jump into that, is that you want to obviously tell them where you're located. Well, how do you know where you're located when you're on this weird ass road with it's a curve and you know the nearest intersection is 20 miles this way, 10 miles that way? Typically, you're going to find mile markers. Whenever you're driving, I like to do this. I play a little game. I like to see what mile marker I'm at. And then if I have to pull over, I can call and do whatever. And I say I'm on mile marker 181 on I-10 in between 181 and 182 or something like that. That's going to give you a good indication of where you're at to the dispatcher. So the dispatcher is going to get that information. Boom, I can send this fire station or this firehouse over here because they're closer. We don't have to ping the cell towers. We don't have to go through all this other stuff. That's wasted time. So a little bit of mental thought of where's the mile marker. I'm driving down the road. Last one I saw was 181. I know we're going up in numbers. 182 is next, so I'm in between 181 and 182.
Okay.
Don't move the bike. It's good.
Yeah, just leave the bike there. It's fine. The bike's already off.
What happened? Well, I saw the dust. And I thought
So the patient says what happened, and this is where I want to jump into some of the context of this. So I asked the original owner of this video, or the original poster of this video, what happened, and I asked for any type of context, and he said he had a pretty serious concussion and sprained ankle. He doesn't remember anything from the accident or the hospital that afternoon. He's back home and ready to ride again soon, though. Lucky guy. Yeah, concussions will do that. You're going to start saying what happened or any type of repeating thing. So he's going to probably say it here and unknown. I don't know if he says it a little bit later, but he might say it again in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or even 1 minute, depending on how severe this is, or an hour. That repetitive, basically restarting the computer, you know, like having to reboot everything, that's going to happen. And that's a good indicator of a traumatic brain injury. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, if he did not have this helmet, I don't even care, you know, if I didn't see it or not, if he didn't have this helmet, he'd be dead. That type of impact to the head, there was an impact. So the helmet impacted, got some damage, but didn't transmit that force to the brain. So very, very lucky. Very, very lucky.
I thought it was just one. I don't know what.
Turn a little wide. You start on the inside of the turn, and then you just drifted out, and then you didn't think you were gonna make it, so you broke, and then you just went off the ledge.
So that's what this rider saw, and that's very good information for all of us. You know, good context, something to tell dispatch if you really feel like it, or even the police and fire. But here's the thing: is when the patient asks a question and they say, you know, what happened, it's very good to get a level where they're at. So don't answer it for them. You should ask, you know, what do you think happened? It's not being a jerk or anything. It's a matter of getting where they are and figuring out what kind of mental state they're in, because that's the whole point of alert, verbal, painful, unresponsive, getting a Glasgow coma scale, all these different things. But the main thing is to figure out where they're at. And then once they say, you know, as much as they know, then you can go ahead and share these details. But you don't want to feed them information and then be like, oh, yeah, I remember, when they really didn't, because that can hide an injury that they might have had.
Okay. It's okay. Don't worry about that now. Just
good.
sit here.
Watch your hand. Woo! Don't touch that rotor.
We got help
Calm
coming.
down, bro. We don't want to move you, cause like
I don't know what
you took a
happened
fucking
exactly.
tumble, bro.
Yeah, I know I did.
we had to come and find you.
Oh my god,
So
that
just-
fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
just
don't
sit
worry
here for a
about your
little
bike
bit.
though.
Just chill, man. Just sit here for a little bit, okay?
I mean, look at that. Just take a look at that. Woo-wee. Might have hit his head on that tree or something coming down, but that's a very high mechanism of injury.
Fuck, man. Not him, and he's just.
This lung is in my fucking stomach and I can't breathe.
It's in it.
So complete full sentences, you can breathe. The phrasing of "I can't breathe" is kind of mixed in with "it's uncomfortable." He's like, "Oh man, I can't breathe. Like this shirt is tight." You know, it's just a matter of verbiage and words. Right here, it's a comfort issue. So I would explain to him, hey, we can't move you yet. There could be a possible spinal fracture, spinal injury, and if we move you, it could make it worse or could cause some paralysis. Just let you know, okay? Are you able to breathe? Are you able to still function staying right here? I understand it's uncomfortable, but can you wait until EMS show up? No, I can't. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take your backpack off and you start explaining things. I'm going to take the backpack off, I'm going to roll you onto your back, and you're going to hopefully be able to breathe, or we're going to move the stick out of the way, but it might cause some more pain. Let us know. But if they say, yeah, I can handle it, then be like, okay, good. Let me know if you can't handle it, and we'll do something. But the main thing here is you don't want to move any of the patients or any motorcycle rider at all. Especially with a high mechanism of injury like this, you want to have EMS personnel on scene. Now, the whole Good Samaritan Act, everything could help you, but you wouldn't know any of this stuff if you didn't take an accidentscene.org class.
The dog is fucking huge.
All right, 1 second. We'll figure this out.
Hey, where is your arm? Your right arm, where is it?
It's underneath me. I can feel it.
It's underneath you?
Yeah.
It's right here.
Fuck.
Your arm real quick.
Oh, thank God. That's good. Is
that better?
Okay.
That's good?
I can breathe now.
Can you feel that?
You can wiggle all your fingers and all that shit?
So that is, without them probably knowing, that's called pulse motor sensory, PMS, and I'm pretty sure there's a new acronym, or there's a different acronym for you guys anywhere else. Pulse is checking pulse. So right here, I would have checked the pulse just real quick. The fact that he's like, I can feel it, that's a sensory thing, and the motor is moving the fingers, so pulse motor sensory. So without even knowing, there's a name for this, and he did a good job. Good information.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Right? Wiggle all your toes.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right. My right foot's kind of like bruised, but I'm
Your right foot?
I'm assuming that is the sprained ankle on the right foot.
Let's not take anything off right now.
How can we make you more comfortable?
Hold up. This is the weirdest feeling because I had a dream like this like the other night. Yeah. Like dead ass. I literally did.
Shit happens, man.
Is that a new thing, dead ass? I never grew up with that. I think it's the funniest thing ever, though.
All right, bro.
No, you're good, man.
You're good, bro. You're good.
We're gonna get you some help. Yeah, we'll get you set up. I'm thirsty as fuck, but there's a Powerade, and I really don't want to push everything. So.
All right, so thirsty, that's a common natural body response. Almost every EMS scene that I've been a part of, the patient was thirsty. Here's the thing, don't give him anything, especially with this, because if he's going to need surgery, it's better to have almost a closer to dehydrated state. Now, I'm pretty sure surgeons, doctors are going to chime in and say, we can still do it. Here's the thing. What I know is just not to mess with it. You can aspirate it, which is vomiting, and then inhaling the vomit. There's a bunch of other reasons for it. It's not just the surgery, especially in the EMS portion, emergency medical services, pre-hospital portion.
Just chill for now.
I'm gonna slide up behind you. We're good. We got people down here. If you just make sure traffic doesn't fly through there.
Yeah, so they already called, so just...
We're good. Yeah, we're not gonna move them.
What you need?
Yep.
So even if he says he's okay and all that stuff, don't move him. He's worried about traffic. Very good. You want to have traffic control. You don't want to have anybody else getting hurt. That's one of the biggest things, guys, is you don't want anybody else getting hurt more than whoever is already hurt. That's just more people to take care of, and you're going to have to start triaging, and some people can get pretty bad.
I feel fine though, but I don't want to move. Can you hit pause on the music?
Only one problem.
Your phone is...
Oh, what's your...
Oh, right there. Hey. Right here on your right.
Okay, I got it. Hold on, you found it?
Is 5683.
Oh, good.
This is a good screen,
your phone
bro.
is good, bro. You don't have to worry about your phone.
Yeah, your phone is good.
Yeah.
Your GPS still on.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hey, you know what's cool?
So this whole situation of like waiting for people, I'd rather have this than be doing CPR for 45 minutes until EMS shows up. So this right here, as boring and as weird as it looks, I'm actually very happy. I'm gathering information. The simple fact that he's talking, the simple fact that he's not complaining even more about the breathing, which I believe later on they move things. The fact that there's no real complaints, I'm perfectly fine with and I'm happy about because I don't want to see this person injured. But during this time, I will be asking a lot of questions every 5 minutes to trend towards wherever they're going. So if they start to get worse and worse and worse, I know every 5 minutes it's starting to do this. Or if they're getting better, every 5 minutes it's doing this, might go down, but then goes back up with my interventions. And intervention is whatever it is I do, basically. Give medications, move the patient, whatever it is. So that is why I'm doing it. It's called trending. You will learn that in the class.
Oh man, I got this all on video too. We'll watch it later. We're gonna be on Moto Madness.
That's why you crashed. Is he really listening?
My channel.
Dude, love yourself.
Justin Bieber.
Make sure they know what's going on.
Yeah, just talk to them up there. Yeah.
Okay, they good?
Yeah, they're calling. They're stopping.
So he probably feels like he's not doing anything down there. So if you ever feel that way, just constantly keep moving. One of the things as a fire service, I'm just going to chime in real quick, an opinion piece here. It's called freelancing. You don't want to do that. You don't want to take off. You do want to have some type of incident command structure. So whoever has the most medical knowledge should be in charge and directing people to leave or not leave. So this situation, it's not that big of a deal. It's the patient on the ground is not doing too bad. So him leaving is not going to be the biggest deal, but be aware of that.
In traffic.
You
know what's crazy?
Right here, there was a passage of time. I don't know how they moved him, but sitting like that, that's the most I would do. If anything, I'd probably still take the backpack off and lay him back. So basically, the anatomical position is, standing straight up with the hands out, or laying on their back, supine with their hands forward. So I'd try my best to get to that position. So if right here we're on the ground, I lay him back. And you also have some other issues, with blood pressure, pulse, and all that stuff. But it seems like he's doing fine. So real quick, right here on the gray shirt, Tyler, the original poster of this, said the guy in the gray shirt was a former Navy SEAL. He actually had all the rope in his car too, and the rescue team pulled him out with it. So
This man dropped. Thank you, man. He's good. He seems okay.
I got it.
So right there, whenever we are moving towards a patient and they're downhill, here's the patient, we don't go straight to it, we go down and then towards. So that right there could have injured the patient. Thankfully it was caught, but that's another little tool and tip that we do is we don't go straight down to the patient, we go down and then towards them, to the side of them. We don't want to go down towards them from the hill because of that.
Seems okay.
I got it.
You dropped it.
Bro, you
Over rocks.
You dropped, bro.
And you got less injured.
That's right.
On the low side.
Hey, what's that?
I say he jumped.
He's with us. We got him sitting up. He's conscious.
And he's less injured than the ground. Yeah.
Keep his helmet on. Very good. So I watched this during the live stream, and this guy did a pretty good job when it comes to the assessment with his gear. So we're just going to listen to him, and I'll just chime in a few times.
Good. Let's jump out of your way here.
Don't worry about that, bro. We got insurance, bro.
But
I have liability. Like my bike's totaled.
Yeah.
Liability versus collision, all these different types. Everyone has pretty much different terminology for it. Get the best insurance you possibly can, and if you really want to protect your baby, make sure you get collision comprehensive, whatever it is, to cover bike expenses. So liability is it's not going to cover this. Liability will just cover if you crash into somebody else. And once again, there's tons of verbiage out there, but just be aware of that.
Let me say real quick, guys.
Yeah.
It's okay, bro.
Slide around.
Everything happens for a reason, man.
Stay still. I'm on this bush for you.
It's true.
Everything happens for a reason, bro. You're good.
What's up, man? Let me see your eyes, dude. Yeah. I definitely hit my head. Close them and open them again. Your pupils are responsive, so that's good.
All right, so real quick, what he did there was he was checking for equal pupil dilation, constriction, pearl. Pupils equal and reactive to light. Closing the eyes, since he doesn't have a pen to go on, off, he's using the eyes to close and then open. So when it's dark out, your pupils dilate. When it's very bright out, they constrict. It's like a lens on the camera. And what he's also checking is both of them. So hitting the head can cause one to be blown out, like really dilated, one to be constricted, and that's indicative of a head injury. Now, it's not when you have a head injury, that always happens. That's not the case. It's just one of those things. Another thing is if it's completely constricted and it's like really shady out, they should be dilated. There might be narcotics on board, type of thing. So drugs can affect that. So he's doing his baseline vitals, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I feel you got something in your pocket. Is your leg?
My wallet. It's his right leg.
My leg.
So something in your pocket, or is that? And then they answered the question for him. So he saw a deformity, something that wasn't natural to the body shape. So that's what he asked. He didn't have to touch. He just asked. So it's really cool.
I can feel it. My ankle's going on.
Paracord bracelet. He knows that he's about to get into some type of body substance and doesn't want it to be stuck inside that paracord bracelet because disinfectant. It's going to be a pain in the ass. He's probably going to have to throw it away. So he knows I can tell this guy's worked with blood before. So putting it in his pocket without even thinking. So I know this guy's working with something. He's going to go ahead and check the leg now.
All right.
can feel the mud now.
Mud's going through your shoe.
Hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah. That stings.
Okay, that's not that bad.
It's not bad.
I'm telling you, it's not bad at all.
No, bro, you're good.
Yeah, I can feel everything. My whole foot, I can.
Can you feel this? So what he's doing is palpating away from the injury. So I don't know if he's going to, I haven't watched this in a while. I don't know if he's going to do it below the injury, but palpating above the injury, checking for any type of deformity. So if he presses on it, there could be like all of a sudden he feels like the bone structure moved or some type of subcutaneous air pockets, which is when air gets through an injury and you start getting it's hard to explain. It's almost like Rice Krispies where it's like you push on it, it's like squish, 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 but then it just makes like a poppy noise. So that could possibly happen, but he's also palpating for tenderness. So if he pressed above the injury, well above it, and the patient's like, ow, 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 then you know that there is deferred pain or possible injury all the way up there. What you want to do is start really far from the injury and then work your way towards the injury. Because if you press really close to the injury and start there, it's gonna be ow anyways, and then you move to the next one's gonna be ow, next one's gonna be ow, next one's gonna be ow, even though there shouldn't be an ow. So he's checking. So it's really cool. I'm explaining quite a bit, but I think this is why you guys are here for the medical analysis, and this is also for the patient. So if you're watching this, man, I hope you're doing great.
You can probably climb up out of here. Goddamn. Now we're gonna have to tow this.
He's palpating still.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be fucking hell. We might just have to put a cross over
Nah,
here.
they'll put
So he's checking below.
They'll winch it out of here.
Winch and just drag that motherfucker.
It's total. That sucks. Oh, you're good.
You got a lot of gear on, so that's good.
Yeah, that's the benefit.
Yep.
Full pad.
Now, I would recommend if you notice it where the tear is on that right knee, that's where motorcycle pants are. But it looks like these are moto boots, moto jacket, moto helmet. He had gloves. So the only thing that he didn't have was impact protection or even abrasion resistance on the pants part.
You feeling all right?
Yeah, I feel
No
fine.
trouble breathing?
No,
Chest is good?
chest is fine.
Neck's good?
Neck's fine, neck's fine. The only thing I remember grazing the top of the rock over there.
Your
And
helmet,
it flipping over.
Your helmet shows that.
Saved your life, man.
So the last thing he remembers is, I'm assuming it was, so we didn't see the accident. I'm assuming he low-sided, hit his head, and then he remembers flipping, but doesn't remember getting down here. So that initial impact hitting the head on the pavement maybe is what caused a lot of the traumatic brain injury, but could have been a very minor concussion and he lost memory, but then the tumbling later caused more of an injury, which caused more of that cognitive decline. So that right there is a scary thing, but the simple fact that he's talking, he's alert, let the hospital take care of it. EMS, we shouldn't worry about it. Pre-hospital care, we shouldn't worry about it. We should be worrying about life-threatening and altering things.
I'm gonna step over here real quick. Don't move.
You don't want to step over the patient, but don't give water either.
If he starts passing out or something, try to keep him.
Yeah, for sure.
This right here.
Yep.
A bit of a chest rub.
Okay.
Don't shake him or anything. Just
Yep.
rub the sternum.
Got it.
So a sternal rub. So if you want, you can actually do it right now. So grab your knuckles like this. Well, grab your knuckles. Put your hand like this, and then get to your right on your sternum and just roll back and put a little bit of pressure and roll back and forth. You're going to start to feel that. That's painful. So when I talked about alert, verbal, painful, and unresponsive, if somebody goes unconscious and you do this, that is that painful response. So if they wake up or they make noise to doing that, that is they're responding to pain. In a trauma patient, you don't want to do that because there could be structural problems. So if you press on this, they could have had a broken rib, cause another issue. I'm not going to recommend or say what I'm going to do in this situation. If they do go unconscious, once again, focus on their airway, breathing, and circulation. Learn CPR if you have to. Learn rescue breathing if you have to. Don't worry too much about a sternal rub or what I would do.
Hey, homie, you want me to call somebody for you?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Who would we call?
My parents.
Mama. Oh shit. Yeah. Oh, your helmet's cracked, dude.
Why don't I just let her know what's going on, man?
You said it's cracked?
Yeah. I don't want to freak them out.
I know. I'll keep them calm. I just want them to know what's going on. I would want my parents to know if this happened.
It ain't bad.
It's the vent section, bro.
Those
Can you
helmets
not
hold on
stop
pretty
with the
well.
helmet,
It's
please?
not the shell.
That's not the shaft.
Yeah, it's this section right here.
Would it be bad if the shell was cracked open?
So there was a passage of time right here. I go ahead and skipped over it a little bit. It was just him walking up. But we have EMS on scene. We have, it looks like a scoop stretcher. We have a rope. We have all these different things. More than likely, there is EMS personnel already down there assessing the patient, doing baseline vitals, getting them packaged or getting them ready to be packaged. And then these guys are going to rescue. We have EMS up top. They are ready to accept the patient and start providing care in the ambulance and then take off. So you have multiple operations. You have an incident command chief or ICC to the left. Let's see, where is it going to show it? Right there. So you have, it looks like it's going to be somebody at a higher level of training with more incident command training, and it's probably going to be a chief. Now, they're the ones in charge talking to any other additional resources. They're managing different things because you have EMS right here, so that's their own department. You have rescuing or ops down there, and then so you have multiple things. So it's always good to have multiple people on scene. They have different policies than what I'm used to, so I'm going to notice that there is not going to be a lot of C-spine precautions being handled here. But once again, they have different policies, different guidelines, different medical director, different everything. So like I said, there's going to be somebody down there already packaging the patient, getting baseline vitals, getting injury interventions, anything like that, hoping some type of C-spine. But from what I remember, I don't believe there was any type of cervical collar applied until afterwards. Once again, different policies, different procedures, different guidelines. If you're watching this and you're the one in this accident, or if you're friends with this person, this is what you call a basket stretcher. There's a bunch of different names for it, but that's what this is. So it's meant to be able to be handled in these situations. A lot of hand grips, a lot of attachment points, and it's basically a stretcher, a backboard, but for this rough terrain, they're able to drag it across the ground. It's not going to be very comfortable for the patient, but it's one of the only ways to get you out outside of a crane or a helicopter pulling you out. So you want to move by hand. Now, I don't know why there's not more people pulling up, or if there's a communicate. Once again, I don't know. But I would have this person in a cervical collar, but they might have done selective C-spine precautions, which is perfectly fine. They do what they need to do. Hopefully you're doing fine. But right here, now we have the patient up. So the rescuers did their job. EMS personnel should be handling the situation. Just kind of, I'm not going to say anything. Just maybe work a little faster. Seems to be doing good. Seems to be doing good. Maybe there's no rush just because it's a stable patient, but still.
I'm gonna give this back to you though. I'm gonna put my coat. You gave it to me. I'm gonna put this back in your pocket, okay?
So that right there is a cervical spine collar. It's just going to go around your neck. It's not going to prevent you from doing anything. You can still do stuff. You can still fight it, take it off. But it's just going to remind you to keep your head still. I feel this should have been put on before moving.
Yeah, take it with you. I'm just deciding your pocket.
I don't this pocket. Right pocket, yeah. Right pocket, we got it.
So just moving forward a little bit right there, this is the normal stretcher, which you're going to be secured to while in the back of the ambulance. All the straps are basically seat belts to keep you safe in case of an accident. I'm not going to make a comment. Like I said, I have different policies, procedures that I'm used to. I personally wouldn't be doing this next step right here, especially with the mechanism of injury, but based off of the lack of knowledge that I have, in this incident and all the knowledge that they have of the incident because they were there, they could have done like I said, a selective C-spine precaution. So they might have ruled out some things. I personally don't have the medical experience. It's out of my scope of practice to do that. I wouldn't feel comfortable as an EMT to do this, but I would follow what my paramedic or captain told me to do. I would question it. I would say something. But then if they gave me, which I've worked with some really good people, if they gave me a good explanation, either after the fact, after the scene, or during, and said this is fine, it's fine, then I guess it's fine. I got to follow orders. But I wouldn't move the patient that way. So if we can take this down and put it into more layman's terms, if you are somebody that witnessed an accident and the buddy's like, hey, I want to get up, I want to get moving, This is what you shouldn't do. So remove everything when it comes to the ambulance workers, the EMS, all that stuff. This is just a group of you guys, like with full gear, picking up your buddy and standing him up and walking him around. Don't do that. Okay. So EMS, they have the expertise. They're going to do all that. They're going to make it work. But yeah, I wouldn't be moving a patient like this, especially with suspected brain injury, which could easily be a cervical spine injury or the rest of the spine injury. But that's just where I kind of wanted to end it. I wanted to just kind of go over this because I wanted to give the patient and all his friends some type of context. And then on top of that, we could all learn from this and be better riders, or just, understand the consequences of going a little too wide on a turn. It could be a simple mistake. It could be a lack of judgment. It could be anything. But this is the after effect of that type of situation. And it's not pretty. And this is why we practice. And this is why we train, so that we don't do something like this, or we just mitigate the possibilities of it happening. So if it's a good chance of it happening, well, let's make sure that it's a really low chance with all the training that we do. Once again, thank you to the DDFM crew members for making this possible. I wouldn't be able to do this video. It's probably going to demonetize, and it doesn't support the channel when I can't make money on it because I just spent over an hour talking. So if you would like to support the channel, become a DDFM crew member. It's only $2 a month. You get all the emojis, all the cool things from the live streams that I do Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Right now, I might do more. And it really does help out the channel. So if you'd like to do that, click that join button, click the link in the description, first comment. With that said, though, I hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and hope he's doing really well. If you're watching this, hope you're doing well. I'll see you around.